Hi, everybody. I wanted to jump on here really quickly and talk about this Mary J. Blige P. Diddy relationship. Now, last week, HipHop.com announced that they were going to indict Diddy's co conspirators. This means the enablers, people. They're going after the enablers. We all know that P. Diddy had a group of people that he worked very close with on legal things and illegal things, and he himself called them the enterprise. So when the feds release the names of the co-conspirators, they're going to call it the enterprise letter. And this is going to be what I call the meat and potatoes of the case because it eliminates all of the hearsay. It gets rid of all the Jaguar Wrights and Allie Carters and all the people that are going around saying what happened versus the people that were actually there, and not only there, but the feds involved them in the case. Now, rumor has it that Mary J. Blige is one of these people. Now, in my previous video, Danny Boy did come out and say, yes, Mary J. Blige did sleep with him when he was only 15 years old. However, her relationship with Diddy is even deeper than that. What people don't know is Mary J. Blige is very, very dark. She talks about it herself. She said her childhood was horrendous. She said that she was SA'd from the ages of 5 to 17.
I was the little girl. I didn't dream anymore, especially when we became teenagers. It just got worse. So I said, I'm not going to let these people see me smiling too much. Matter of fact, they're never going to see me smiling. I never smiled when I was a teenager. People are just like suffering. And the men were so horrible towards women. I remember hearing women being beaten. My mother was one of those women. So I remember her pain. I carried her pain. I carried the neighbor's pain. I carried people all over the environment's pain. And I carried my own pain.
She lived a life of pain from 5 years old all the way up to 17. At 18, this is when she got signed to Uptown Records. So when Mary became an artist, she was already dark, very, very dark, and often had thoughts of ending it all. In an interview, she described in her own words what she was like when she got to Uptown Records. Ooh, going down.
The only thing I think that kept us guided was the music.
My whole world's upside down.
When Mary sang, I heard the pain of a generation.
In the neighborhood we lived in, it's like prison. There was a lot wrong and there was a lot I needed to get out. That's why I had that pen.
Sleep don't come easy.
My life is probably my darkest album. At one of the darkest times I've had. Most of the times I was just depressed and didn't want to live.
So when she gets to Uptown Records, right away she's introduced to Diddy, who is equally as dark and damaged as Mary was. He had his own childhood issues with his mom introducing him to freak offs, him seeing all kind of unhealthy sex lives going on around him. They were two birds of a feather that flocked together, and they were able to talk to each other about their dark past. He was bisexual and she was bisexual, which at that time they didn't tell anyone else.
I remember when we made that record, it was one of the most unsecure times of our lives. And it was one of those days where you're walking around with the tears boiled up in your eyes. Like we was kids that was just heartbroken. And me and her in the studio looking at each other crying.
So when you're able to talk to someone about the darkest times in your life and your secrets, well, that bond runs deep. And they both turned to drugs and alcohol when the pain just got too intense. And when it came down to both of their ex lives, where their perception of ex was warped, very, very warped. They often say if you've been dealing with sexual things in your childhood, you become very promiscuous. So in other words, Mary J. Blige, hell, she was down for whatever. They're even saying that when she got married, she introduced a woman into her marriage. This woman name was Starshell, and she supposedly lived with Mary J. Blige and her husband, Kendu. She introduced people to Starshell as her artist, but really, she was the family toy. They say sometimes she was with Mary, sometimes she was with Kendu, sometimes she was with both. And people say that Mary was cool with it until they started spending all of her money. That's when Mary got upset. So when Mary did interviews talking about why her marriage ended, when she said that she didn't feel respected, she meant you broke the cardinal rule and started having feelings for this woman. And you start spending all of my money on top of that? That's just plain disrespectful.
I mean, the breaking point was when I kept asking over and over and over again for respect and to be respected. And it just seemed like I was beating a dead horse, and it seems like I was talking to a wall, or, and I just wasn't getting it back. So, if if I can't get respect in the relationship, then I have to move on to save myself.
Now, what happened between Kendu and Mary J. Blige and Starshell had been out there for years. Another thing that's been out there for years is Mary J. Blige was frequent at the freak-offs. Not only that, they said she would bring men and women for Diddy. Not only that, they're also saying that Mary J. Blige had a threesome with Diddy and Kim Porter, and this was Kim Porter's first threesome. And at these parties were underage minors. And of course, we have Danny Boy admitting to sleeping with Mary J. Blige at the age of 15.
Knocked on the door. She ran and kind of damn near jumped behind the couch hiding. But I'm looking like, what your problem is? And she make sure that's not K. K. And I'm like, oh, man, I don't care. I'm talking to him. I don't care who he is. You ain't got to be running and jumping and did it. But she was actually talking about KC. She was thinking that KC she had like this postpartum type, the shit that people in the army probably go through when they hear bangs. Like when it came to KC at that time. Right. And she's sitting on the couch and shit. I'm like, you ain't got to worry about him. You straight. You did it like, I'm 15, 16 years old. And she laying on the couch. And I'm sitting on the other end, and she laid down on the couch and put her head in my lap. I'm like, damn. He can't be talking about Mary. Was talking about she wanted me to come back up here, and now she on my lap. And I'm sitting there and I'm wondering, I'm like, okay, what is this gonna end up to? Well, that's why I was kind of confused when I heard Kurt saying that Mary was pot girl. Because at that time, she was my girl. At that time, I'm 15, 16 years old, and she flying me in to see her. And you know what it is when a girl back up on you, you young and shit, and I'm trying to show her that she ain't phasing me. I'm hard as goddamn. She's backing up against me. This Mary J. Blige. And quite naturally, I mean, I don't even know if you're supposed to say you had sex with people on camera. Anyway, whatever.
So now that we know how far back and how strong of a bond Mary J. Blige had with P. Diddy, knowing that she's going to be named on this list, is it because of everything she knew about Diddy? Was it about her being at the freak-offs and they have a tape of her? Is it because everyone knows that she had a relationship with a 15-year-old Danny Boy? And was she with minors at the freak-off? I mean, if you did it once, would you do it again? Or are they expecting her to be the snitch and let the feds know everything she knows about Diddy and her part in helping out with the freak-offs? Until next time, bye for now.